Welcome to our Unlocking Practice Efficiencies Lunch and Learn. Thank you all for joining us. We sincerely apologize for the last-minute time change due to a technical issue with our webinar system. We're truly sorry for any disruption this may cause to your plans. Please remember that if you can't attend for the whole duration this afternoon, that all our sessions are recorded and available on our YouTube channel. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we stand. Here in Melbourne, this is the Wurundjeri people. And I would also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. I'm Alan Lim, Installation and Training Consultant at Magenta's Practice Management. Today we'll be focusing on navigating the appointment book and schedules, setting up procedure templates, managing referral reports, and some general Genie maintenance. Following the presentation, I'll be joined by Olivia McCarthy, our National Customer Training Manager, Christopher Lynch, Installation and Training Consultant, and Braden Sinden, Technical Support Team Leader for Q&A. We encourage you to participate and make the most of the opportunity to ask your questions on the topic. Simply locate the Q&A box at the bottom of your webinar screen, type in your question, and click Submit for your question to be sent to our moderators. Feel free to submit your questions at any time during the webinar, and we'll try our best to address as many as we can during the Q&A. At the close of the webinar, we invite you to spend a couple of minutes completing our survey. We are keen to tailor these sessions to what resonates most with our practices, and we do value and encourage you to leave your thoughts. We hope you enjoy our presentation today. We'll start with navigating around the appointment book and setting up schedules. There are several features in Genie Appointment Book that some practices may not be aware of, and these include quickly navigating around the calendar, alternate appointment book views, personalizing how you view your appointment book, setting up practitioner schedules based on where they are rostered, quickly searching for the next available appointment slot, generating a list of upcoming appointments that don't have a valid referral, and generating a list of past appointments that haven't been issued an invoice. In the appointment book, you can easily navigate to the specific date using the numerous drop-downs and buttons available. A few things that people may not be aware of include clicking on the abbreviated month to view a list of months. Also, you can jump a specific number of weeks from today's date by clicking on the drop-down arrow to the right. To jump an extra number of weeks from the date you are currently viewing, hold Alt on your keyboard or Option on a Mac and then select the week. Because we are now viewing a date other than today, the day and date appears in blue. By clicking on the word today, this will take you back to today's date and will change from blue to red. So anytime you see red, you know that you are on today's date. As a default, Genie will open to the appointment book to show the practitioner day view. Under the calendar in the top left-hand corner are 4 buttons used to flick between the appointment views. The first button is simply our default practitioner day view, where you can see all practitioners or an individual practitioner for a single day using the tabs along the top. The second button, represented with the number 31, will display the appointment book in multi-day view for each individual practitioner. The number of days shown in this view can be customized by going to the appointment preferences on the left, and within the main tab, we would now enter in the number of days in the days shown in dates view. Then click on Save. The most common number of days that we have seen set is 7 or 14 days. Please note that this and any other changes made within the main tab will apply for all users. Not frequently used, However, Genie also provides an option to view your booked-in appointments and procedures by rooms and locations. Appointments and procedures can be allocated to a room by clicking on the patient booking. Then, clicking on the Rooms drop-down at the top and selecting the appropriate room. If you have set up practitioner schedules with the default room set, this will automatically apply the room or location to any new bookings. To view the appointment book by rooms or hospitals, click on the third button with the red cross. Some ideas for rooms include practice locations, so for example, Main Street Consulting and Westside Consulting. Or if you have multiple consult rooms in each practice location, you could have specific consult room numbers, such as Main Street Consult Room 1, Main Street Consult Room 2, so you can easily track which rooms your practitioners are working from. And finally, hospital locations for theatre bookings. The last view option that Genie provides is a simplified view, which is mainly useful for reviewing double bookings and changing the column widths. Double bookings currently overlap in your default practitioner day view, whereas in the simplified view, the button represented with the spreadsheet will list the double bookings one after the other. Please note that in the simplified view, bookings do not show the full duration as blocked, so be very cautious in booking new appointments in what appears to be an empty slot. To change the column widths, move the mouse over the column dividers along the top. Click and drag to resize. Any changes that you apply to the columns in this view will also apply to the practitioner day view. Genie is flexible in that it will also allow you to personalize your individual appointment book view. Click on the Appointment Preference button found on the left. As mentioned earlier, any changes that you make in the Main tab are applied for all users, whilst changes in the Appearance and Column Order and Rooms tab are applied to the individual user login. Within the Appearance tab, you can set which appointment book view opens as default whenever you go into the appointment book. However, the most common personalization is the font size and font height, or row height, to make the appointments larger without having to change the desktop screen resolution. Additionally, you can also configure the columns to show which columns are visible and which columns will print out on your practitioner's day sheets. The appointment column order can be rearranged by going to the Column Order and Rooms tab. Simply click, drag and drop into the order required. This is also where you can manage your rooms and locations that we mentioned earlier, which is useful for specifying consult rooms and/or hospital locations. Practitioner schedules can be implemented in the appointment book to template the availability based on appointment types and/or locations. Some practices set up their schedules simply based on location, for example, consult rooms versus hospital theatre locations. However, other practices set up specific appointment types, so for example, spots utilized for new appointment bookings versus post-op appointments. Once set up, the schedule will sit in the background of the appointment book, where patients' appointments can be easily booked over the top without altering the original template. So if any appointment changes, cancellations, or reschedules occur, the templated schedule in the background will reappear. We generally recommend when setting up the schedules that you view the appointment book in multi-day view, so you can easily set up a whole week at a time. To set up the schedule, click on the Rubik's Cube button found on the left. Select the appropriate appointment type from the type drop-down list. Click, hold and drag from the start time to the end time required. You can change the name or description if needed. Otherwise, proceed to click on the non-repeating drop-down arrow and select the appropriate interval. In this example, every 4 weeks. If this schedule is only valid until a particular date, an end date can also be specified. The default room or location can be set up within the template, and by applying this, all new bookings into this designated time will have the location set automatically. Then click on the Save button. Repeat those same steps for any other scheduled appointment types and locations accordingly. If you need to adjust a pre-existing template, right-click on the block and select Delete Appointment Schedule. A pop-up prompt appears advising that this action is not reversible. If you choose Future, this will remove from the date you are currently reviewing and all future instances, while selecting All will remove both past and future instances. There is a neat little feature in the appointment book that generally gets overlooked. You can easily find and locate the next available time based on a templated schedule, either by location or by appointment type, depending on what was set up. Click on the next drop-down menu found along the top. Select the scheduled time required, for this example, post-op. Genie will jump to the next available time based on what is templated. If this date is not suitable for the patient, to find the next available time, make sure you click on the last available scheduled time within that day before you then click on Find Again at the top. Repeat these steps as necessary to find the appropriate date for the patient. Patient consult and procedure bookings generally require a valid doctor referral. Within the appointment book, you can easily generate a list of patient bookings that do not have a valid referral. Go to the Appointments menu along the top. About halfway down, click on the Check Forward Referrals. Enter in the date range you want to check. You can generate this list for all practitioners or a specific practitioner at a time. Then click on OK. A list of patient bookings will appear. To manage this list, click on the Show in Patient List button at the bottom. This will open the patient list where you can contact the patient and record notes against the patient's file by going into the demographic screen and clicking on Note at the bottom. Then enter in your note. Once your note has been entered, click on the Save button in the top right. Alternatively, if you would like to send a batch SMS to these patients, highlight all the patients with the mobile number in the list and click on the SMS button at the top. Type in your message and then proceed to click on Send. To consulting and treating patients, it is important that we are on top of billing patients for their consults and/or hospital bookings. Ensuring that all patients are invoiced and billed can be a juggling act, and some may be missed. Genie provides a nice little report via the appointment book where you can keep track of any appointments that have yet to be invoiced. Click on the appointments from the menu above. Halfway down the list, click on Check Missing Invoices. Click on OK to confirm. Then add in the date range you wish to check. You can also filter out by practitioner if required, otherwise click on OK. Like the check forward referral list that we saw previously, you can click on Show in Patient List to better manage and review the patient's record prior to invoicing the patient. In this example, reviewing the patient's account history before we proceed to invoice. Now we will look at setting up procedure templates. Preparing procedure bookings can be time-consuming. However, by setting up procedure templates properly with all the presets, you can streamline the procedure booking workflow more efficiently. By setting up the common procedures that our surgeons perform during the surgeon's consults, if a patient requires a particular procedure, rather than the surgeon passing on that information to admin, the surgeon can actually enter it in as a pending procedure, utilizing one of the preset procedure templates. Therefore, when it comes to booking in the patient's procedure at reception, you are not frantically trying to decipher the doctor's handwriting and/or review generic notes that may have been passed on. We can automatically link the pending procedure to a new appointment booking. To set up the procedure templates within the appointment book, click once on the patient appointment and then click on the green doctor button on the left. Type in the procedure name followed by any details that remain consistent for this procedure, so that they can be preset for every time this procedure is booked in. So for example, the procedure type as inpatient, and possibly a pre-op note, in this example, patient advised of bowel prep. In addition to the procedure details being preset, you can also associate the relevant item codes by going to the Quotes tab. Click on the blue plus button on the left and then search for the appropriate MBS codes. Repeat these steps for any additional codes you do not need to worry about adjusting anything on the top section of this tab, as these are individually set when you are creating a quote for a patient. If the surgeon usually compiles their operation notes within the procedure, you can also preset some op note presets via the op notes tab. That way, the surgeon doesn't need to manually type in all their op notes from scratch and simply adjusts them accordingly. However, if your surgeon dictates or scribbles their operation notes, this step can be skipped. Once all details within the procedure are added, click on the Save Template button at the bottom and then type in the new template name. To load a saved procedure template, click on the Load Template button and select the appropriate procedure. If you do not use procedure templates, you can still preset some common procedure names via the drop-down button to the left of the procedure name text box. This will ensure you have consistencies with procedure name conventions, avoiding any misspellings and confusion. First, enter in the procedure name, and then click on the Add to Menu button found on the right. Click on OK to confirm. Repeat these steps for any additional procedure names that you commonly use. If your list of procedure names have obsolete entries or misspellings, hold Alt on your keyboard or Option on a Mac, and then select from the drop-down list to remove. Next, we'll look at managing referral reports. Leading up to Christmas, practices have the opportunity to thank their network of GPs and specialist referrers. Genie provides a way to generate a list of active referrers, including identifying top referrers. With this list, you can easily batch print out referral address labels and even batch generate thank you letters to show your appreciation. To generate your list of referrers, go to the File menu in the top left. A third of the way down, select Maintenance and Reports. Click on the Practice Analysis tab along the top, and click on the Referrals report on the right. For this report, we would want to report from the start of the year, so click on the Period drop-down and choose Custom. In the From date, enter in 01/01/2024. You can also filter out this list by provider if required, otherwise click on the OK button. This particular report shows a breakdown of the number of patients referred per month by doctor, as well as the total. You can sort the list of doctors in alphabetical order or based on the total number of referrals by clicking on the relevant column title. If you would like to filter this list out further, click on the New Referrals button along the top and click on OK. Alternatively, Genie also provides the same referral report based on referral value. To generate this list, before clicking on the referrals report, hold Alt on your keyboard or Option on a Mac. Like previously, enter in your required dates. This report will now show the number of referred patients, the value of the total fees charged, and the total fees paid. Similar to the previous report, you can sort by number of referrals, but also by total fees, total paid, and by percentage. Once you have generated a list of referring doctors, highlight the doctors in the list that you would like to then send a Christmas letter to. To select a range of referrers, hold Shift on your keyboard, then select the first referrer up until the last. Or to select all referrers, hold Alt on your keyboard and press A. On a Mac, hold Option and press A. Once selected, click on the Address Book button along the top, where the selected referrers will be listed. From this list, select and highlight the referrers in this list. Then you can proceed to batch print address labels via the Label button to stick on the back of postcards or Christmas card envelopes. Within the Label Selector screen, depending on whether you have Avery 7x2 label paper or have a designated Dymo label printer, proceed to select the appropriate option and then click on Print in the lower right. Alternatively, you can also generate a Christmas letter via the Golden Pages button, utilizing a Christmas letter template that you may have previously created. The last topic that we're going to cover is conducting general Genie maintenance. Genie provides the function of creating preset lists within a range of different areas, and over time they may accumulate duplicates, misspelled entries, grammatical errors, obsolete data, and overpopulated lists. Common areas within Genie where preset lists can be utilized include the appointment book, clinical record, doctor and patient letter templates list, task list, and the active Genie user list. Within the appointment book, there are two common lists that tend to be overpopulated. First, the appointment types list. Click on the Types drop-down menu and then select Modify. Click to select the appointment type that is not needed. Then click on the Delete button, followed by OK to confirm. If you delete a type that has been booked, the name will not be removed from the booking. However, the appointment will appear in white. You can also rename appointments by double-clicking on the name and entering in the new name. This will change all future occurrences of this appointment type. The other list in the appointment book is the Recall Reason list. On a patient appointment, then go to the appointment menu along the top. Towards the end of the list, click on Add Recall. Click on the Reason drop-down arrow to review your list. To remove entries within this list, hold Alt on your keyboard, or on a Mac, hold Option, and then select the entry in the list to delete. In a similar fashion to how you clean up the recall reasons, you can also clean up several lists within the clinical record screen. In the top left-hand corner of the clinical screen, we have the allergies list, followed by current problems and past history. Further down on the left is the alcohol status and our practitioner's quick scripts. If you cannot locate these, you may find them in the summary tab in the top left, depending on your user preferences. Two other areas where cleanup may be beneficial include the message to reception drop-down list via the Send Item button, that our practitioners should be utilizing to send information out to admin as the patient is checking out, and also via the procedure name list that we touched upon earlier, via the Add Procedure screen. From within the clinical record, click on Tools and then Add Procedure. The last list within the clinical record is the macros list. This can be accessed via the Add Consult button found at the top. Click on the macros button down below, then select the macro in question, and then click on Delete. Whilst we are in the macros screen, it is useful to note that when adding in macros, you can also allocate them to a specific user. This can be useful if different practitioners utilize different shortcuts when typing up their consult notes. Genie provides two different letter writers: doctor letters via the red quill and patient letters via the golden pages. First, let's take a look at the golden pages. Expand the categories to review the full list of patient letter templates. Click once to select, followed by the Delete Item button found on the right. Please ensure you double check and read the prompts. Click on OK to confirm. Once a template has been deleted, this cannot be recovered. If you have any unnecessary categories, these can also be deleted in the same way. So for example, the quote category. Please note that if the category has any letter templates sitting in that list, these letter templates will simply move to the No Category list at the top. In the red quill, click on the template drop-down list along the top. Please make sure you review the letter prior to deleting. To delete, hold Alt on your keyboard or Option on your Mac and select the template from the drop-down list. As with the golden pages, once a letter has been deleted from the list, it cannot be recovered. So please make sure you have selected the correct template. A very common list that often gets neglected is the user task list. To access the task list, go to the open menu along the top and select Task. Within the task list, it will default to show your own designated task. To review other people's tasks, go to the top right and click on to select the user. If you would like to mark tasks as done, simply tick the checkbox in the Done column on the left. Alternatively, if you would like to clear out old tasks where a record is not required, multi-select by holding Alt on your keyboard or Option on the Mac and click on each individual task. Then click on the trash can icon along the top to delete and click on Delete to confirm. You can also sort by date by clicking on the due date column if that helps in reviewing your old task list. Finally, the last list that we are going to discuss is the active user list. Go to the File menu along the top and then select All User Preferences. You may need to be logged in as an admin user to do this. Double-click on the user in question and in the top right-hand corner, click on the Inactive User checkbox. Click on Save. We generally recommend that you inactivate users once they no longer work at the practice, rather than deleting them out of Genie entirely, as certain notes or actions may have been recorded under that particular user. Within the All User Preferences screen, you can tick or untick the Hide All Inactive Users tick box in the lower right. This will remember your selection each time you come into this screen, so it might be best to leave Hide All Inactive Users ticked. Magenta's Practice Management will be releasing Genie version 11 soon. A few of the changes include the Genie codebase has now been updated to 4D version 20. With this being a major release of 4D, we're bumping the Genie version from 10 to 11. Additionally, whilst previous versions of Genie only supported basic authentication of email accounts, with this release, we're also enabling OAuth 2.0 support for authenticating Outlook and Office 365 accounts. Users wanting to connect Microsoft email accounts to Genie should update to Genie version 11 as soon as possible, due to Microsoft ceasing support for basic authentication. For our Genie to Gen 2 practices, we've also added in a new export feature designed to make the transition more seamless. The update from version 10 to 11 isn't as cumbersome as the update from version 9 to 10. For most people, updating to Genie version 11 will be no different from updating from one version 10 release to another. If you would like to find out more about updating, you can find a copy of our last month's Lunch and Learn on our YouTube channel. Feel free to scan the QR code that's on your screen. And that brings us to the conclusion of our presentation today. If you need further guidance on any of the topics that we've covered, we have many different channels you can use to connect to the Magenta's team. The easiest way to start a conversation is to use the live chat or web form options available from our website. We do appreciate your feedback on these sessions, so we invite you to share your thoughts in the survey that will be presented to you at the close of the webinar today. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and have learned something new.